Most people think the worst thing you can do to a cat is something obvious. Yelling at them, neglecting them, being rough. But that's not usually how a cat's heart gets hurt. It happens in smaller ways, quieter ways, the kind that look harmless while they're happening. That's what makes this so easy to miss. Because cats usually don't protest the way humans expect. They don't give speeches, they don't slam doors, they don't always cry for help in a way that feels dramatic enough to scare you. A cat can feel confused, overstimulated, lonely, or unsafe, and still look normal to the untrained eye. They may simply stop asking for closeness, stop greeting you, stop relaxing fully in the same room, stop showing you the softest parts of themselves, and many owners never realize they were part of the reason. One of the biggest misunderstandings about cats is this idea that they are naturally distant, emotionally self-contained, and perfectly fine as long as they have food, water, and a clean litter box. But cats do not just live in your home physically, they live in it emotionally. They track patterns, they notice tone, they remember what happens before stress, during stress, and after stress. And over time, they build an internal answer to one silent question. Is this a safe place to be myself? That question matters more than most cat owners realize. Because when a cat feels emotionally safe, you see the version of them people dream about, the slow blink from across the room, the tail-up greeting, the little flop onto one side, the choice to sit near you with no fear of being grabbed, chased, interrupted, or cornered. Those moments are not random. They are trust made visible. And when that safety starts to crack, the first thing that usually changes is not affection, it's freedom. Your cat becomes more cautious about when they come near you, more selective about where they sleep, more watchful when you walk into the room. They may still love you. In fact, that is what makes it so heartbreaking. Love can still be there while comfort starts to disappear. This is why so many people say things like, "My cat has become more distant lately," when what's really happened is something deeper. The cat has learned that closeness sometimes comes with surprise, with pressure, with being touched at the wrong moment, picked up without warning, followed when they were trying to decompress, spoken to too loudly, interrupted when they were finally resting, not abused, just not fully understood. And for a species that depends so heavily on control over its own body and environment, being repeatedly misunderstood is exhausting. That's the part most people overlook. Cats are not emotionally fragile in a silly way. They're emotionally precise. Their nervous system is built around scanning, choice, and recovery. They want to know where things are. They want to predict what happens next. They want exits. They want the ability to approach without being trapped and retreat without being pursued. When those needs are respected, many cats become dramatically more affectionate, not because they were trained to love more, but because they finally feel safe enough to show it. And this leads to a misconception that quietly damages a lot of relationships. People think affection creates trust. With cats, it's usually the reverse. Trust creates affection. That means the little daily moments matter far more than grand gestures. You can buy expensive toys, premium food, beautiful furniture, and still make your cat feel emotionally unsettled if your energy is unpredictable and your interactions are always on your terms. On the other hand, a cat in a simple home can feel deeply bonded if they learn that their signals are noticed and their boundaries actually mean something. In other words, your cat is not just reacting to what you do, they're reacting to what your presence predicts. Does your hand mean comfort or interruption? Does your voice mean calm or intensity? Does coming near you lead to connection or to being handled when they weren't ready? That is the real emotional backdrop of your relationship. And once you start seeing it, you can't unsee it. Over the next few parts, we're going to look at the quiet habits that make a cat feel emotionally crowded, overstimulated, or alone, even in a home where they are deeply loved. Some of them are incredibly common. Some even look affectionate on the surface. And one of them is so often dismissed as just a cat being a cat, that people miss one of the clearest cries for help a cat can give. Because the truth is, cats rarely stop loving first. They stop feeling safe first. And once that happens, everything else begins to change. One of the fastest ways to make a cat feel uneasy is to keep turning their quiet moments into your social moments. A lot of owners do this without realizing it. The cat is resting on the couch, half asleep in a sun patch, finally settled into that soft, loose posture that says, "I feel safe enough to switch off." And because it looks so sweet, you reach down. You pet them, you kiss their head, you scoop them up. You call their name in that excited voice people use when they see something adorable. It feels loving. But from the cat's side, it can feel like rest is never fully protected. Cats sleep a lot, but that doesn't mean sleep is unimportant. It means sleep is essential. Rest is when their body comes down from alertness, when their nervous system resets, when they recover from stimulation they never asked for in the first place. And a cat that keeps getting interrupted during those low defense moments can start staying just a little more guarded all the time. That's when you get the cat who still lies near you, but never deeply relaxes. The cat who naps with one eye half open. The cat who leaves the room the second someone notices them. People often describe that cat as aloof, but sometimes that cat is simply managing risk. The same thing happens when affection is always started by the human and rarely accepted on the cat's timing. This is one of the biggest misconceptions people have about bonding. They assume more physical contact always equals more love. But for many cats, unwanted contact does not register as love. It registers as pressure. That doesn't mean your cat doesn't enjoy touch. Many cats absolutely do, but enjoyment depends on context. A cat who rubs against your leg, hops onto the sofa beside you, or leans into your hand is giving consent in the only language they have. A cat who turns their head away, tightens their body, flicks their skin, rotates their ears sideways, or leaves after 2 strokes is also speaking. The problem is that many owners only hear the first kind of signal. They miss the second, and when a cat learns that subtle no signals don't work, they often graduate to stronger ones, swatting, biting, suddenly hating being picked up, avoiding hands altogether. Then people say the cat became aggressive, when in reality the cat became clearer. There's another quiet mistake hidden inside this: forcing closeness after missing the cat's earlier invitation. Cats often ask for connection in brief, easy-to-miss ways. They pass by and brush your leg. They sit a few feet away and look at you softly. They jump onto the desk while you're busy, not because they need something urgent, but because that was their social window. That was the moment they felt open. But if it passes unnoticed, and then hours later you decide now it's cuddle time, your timing may be completely off. You think they're rejecting affection. They think affection has become unpredictable, and unpredictability is exhausting for a cat. This is also why some cats seem more affectionate late at night, early in the morning, or during those tiny in-between moments when the house gets quiet. It's not random. Those are often the times when they feel least pressured and most able to choose contact freely. Choice changes everything for a cat. The same interaction can feel comforting when they initiate it, and stressful when they can't escape it. If you want a stronger bond, stop measuring love by how much you can hold your cat. Measure it by how safe your cat feels returning to you. That might mean petting them less, but noticing them more, picking them up less, but answering more of their small invitations, letting a sleeping cat stay asleep, letting a cat beside you simply be beside you, without turning every peaceful moment into a handling session. And once you start doing that, something surprising happens. Many cats become more affectionate, not less, because now closeness stops feeling like a trap. But emotional safety is not only about touch. Sometimes it gets damaged by something even more invisible: the environment itself. The sounds, the setup, the missing escape routes, the tiny daily details that make a cat feel like nowhere in the house fully belongs to them. And that is where a lot of hidden stress begins. A cat can live in a beautiful home and still feel emotionally unsettled if that home never lets them do what cats are built to do. This is where many loving owners get confused. They focus on comfort the human way: a soft bed, a cozy blanket, a nice corner on the couch. But cats do not experience comfort only as softness. They experience comfort as access, vantage point, predictability, and control. That means one of the most overlooked forms of emotional neglect is sensory boredom mixed with low-level stress. Think about your cat's day when you're gone. If there's nothing to watch, nowhere elevated to sit, no protected hiding place, no interesting sounds, no chance to observe the outside world, then the day can become mentally flat in the worst way. Not peaceful, not restful, just empty. For an animal designed to notice tiny movement, patrol territory, and monitor its surroundings, that kind of emptiness can slowly wear them down. This is why window access matters so much. To you, a window is decoration. To a cat, it is information. Light shifts, birds land, Leaves move. People pass. The outside world gives their brains something natural to track. It lets them observe without risk. It gives them a version of hunting, patrolling, and watching life unfold, all while staying safe indoors. A cat with no view often has fewer ways to spend their attention well, and when attention has nowhere to go, frustration tends to go somewhere else. Sometimes it turns into over-grooming, sometimes into bursts of chaos at night, sometimes into pestering, ankle attacks, or that strange restless energy people chalk up to zoomies without asking what is missing during the rest of the day. Play helps, of course, but even play has a hidden mistake built into it. Many people play with their cat like they're entertaining a toddler. A few seconds of movement, a little teasing, then the toy disappears the moment the human gets bored. But cats are not looking for random excitement. They are built for sequences. Search, stalk, chase, catch. That pattern matters. When it keeps getting interrupted, you can leave a cat more wound up than satisfied. In other words, badly finished play can create stress instead of releasing it. And then there's the issue of territory. Humans love rearranging things because novelty feels fresh to us. Cats often feel the opposite. Their emotional security is tied to familiarity. The place where they sleep, the route they take through a room, the location of their bowl, the scent on a blanket, the reliable corner they retreat to when they need a break. These things become part of their mental map of safety. Move everything suddenly, and a cat may not see it as a stylish update. They may experience it as instability. That includes something many owners unintentionally ruin: the hiding place. People often see hiding as a bad habit to break. They coax the cat out, reach under furniture, follow them into the closet, or block off the one spot the cat uses to decompress because they want the cat to be more social. But taking away a cat's retreat does not create confidence. It creates exposure. And exposure without choice is one of the fastest ways to create more anxiety, not less. The irony is that cats with trusted hiding spots are often more social over time because they know they can leave when they need to. Security breeds confidence. The cat who knows they have an exit is far more likely to take emotional risks than the cat who feels cornered. Sound matters too, often more than people realize. A home that is constantly loud can wear a cat down, especially if voices, televisions, or sudden noise happen close to their resting spaces. But total silence all day can also feel strange. Cats are highly tuned to environmental sound. Gentle, predictable background noise can make a home feel alive and readable. Harsh or chaotic sound makes it feel unsafe. Dead silence can make it feel vacant. So when a cat starts acting difficult, it is often worth asking a better question. Not, what is wrong with my cat? But, what does my cat's world feel like from the inside? Because once that world starts feeling too loud, too empty, too unpredictable, or too exposed, the cat often changes in a way people dangerously misunderstand. They stop being visible. They stop participating. They start disappearing more often. And many owners make the same mistake at that point. They call it personality. But in the final part, we need to talk about why that can be the most serious misunderstanding of all. The most dangerous mistake cat owners make is believing that withdrawal is just who the cat is. A cat starts hiding more. They stop meeting you at the door. They no longer claim their usual spot on the bed. They seem quieter, less curious, less interested in food, play, or company. And because cats have this reputation for being independent, people tell themselves a comforting story. Maybe they're just moody. Maybe they're getting older. Maybe they just want space. Sometimes that story is wrong. And sometimes it delays the one thing the cat truly needs from you: attention. Cats are masters of masking discomfort. That is not drama. That is survival. In nature, showing weakness makes an animal vulnerable. So cats evolved to get very good at hiding pain, stress, and illness until hiding it becomes impossible. That means the cat who is suddenly retreating more, sleeping in unusual places, grooming less, grooming too much, eating differently, or seeming not quite like themselves is not being mysterious. They are communicating in the quietest way they know how. This is why one of the most harmful myths about cats is that hiding automatically means they want to be left alone and nothing more. Sometimes they do need space in that moment, but a noticeable change in behavior should never be brushed aside as personality. A healthy cat can be private, but a cat who changes is telling you something. And this is where everything in this video comes together, because when you understand cats better, you stop judging the surface and start noticing the pattern underneath it. You stop seeing a cat who randomly became less affectionate, and you start asking whether they've been overstimulated, overlooked, bored, stressed, physically uncomfortable, or quietly unwell. You stop assuming they're cold, and you start realizing they may have been careful with their body, careful with their energy, careful with their trust. That shift changes everything. It changes how you greet them when you come home. It changes whether you interrupt their nap. It changes the way you pet them, the way you play with them, the way you set up the room, the way you respond when they disappear for a while. Instead of asking, "How do I get my cat to be more loving?" you start asking, "How do I make love feel safer for my cat?" That is a very different question, and it usually gets a very different result. Because most cats are not asking for perfection. They are asking for respect. Respect for their signals. Respect for their rhythms. Respect for the fact that they are emotional creatures, even when those emotions are subtle. When a cat learns that you notice those things, something beautiful happens. They soften. They linger. They begin to choose you more often, not because you forced a bond, but because you became a place where their nervous system could finally rest. And that may be the real heartbreak in all of this. Not that people don't love their cats enough, but that so many deeply loved cats go misunderstood. So after this video ends, don't just call your cat cute and move on. Go look at them. Really look. Notice where they rest. Notice how they approach. Notice what they avoid. Notice whether their habits have changed. Notice whether the love they offer is being answered in the language they actually speak. Because your cat may never come right out and tell you when something feels wrong, but they are telling you all the time. And when you learn to hear that quiet language, you give them something every cat deserves. Not just a home, but emotional safety inside it. If this video changed the way you see your cat, leave a comment with your cat's name. And tonight, let that be your promise to them that you'll pay closer attention from now on.